Alright guys, I wanted to create a video on guess and check. This is my first time creating a video here, so be patient with me. Hopefully if this is successful, if it is successful and you enjoy it and you want me to create more videos to help you understand the unit, I will try to create a couple more videos, a few more videos to help you out. So here is the factoring by guess and check method that we talked about in class. So first, I think it's very important for us to understand what does factoring means. Let me do a little example here on the side, just a little side note. What does factoring mean? For example, if I have the number 10 and I want to factor, I want to figure out what are the factors that when multiply gives me number 10, the first thing I think of is the number 1 times the number 10. These items right here, these numbers are called factors. So when I multiply 1 times 10, it does equal the number 10. So these are called factors, and I factored the number 10. I also think of 2 times 5. The number 2 and the number 5 are the factors of number 10. So when multiplied 2 times 5, it does equal the number 10. So that's what factoring is finding what are the factors of a number. In our class, for our course, we're not trying to factor numbers, integers. What we're really trying to factor is what's called a polynomial. So let me move here to the side, my little example. What I really want to factor is a polynomial. Let's start really simple, like x squared plus 5x plus 4. So I have x squared plus 5x plus 4. That's what I want to factor right here. I want to know what are the two factors that when multiplied give me x squared plus 5x plus 4. So we're going to use the guess and check method. The first step of a guess and check method is know what are the two factors that when multiplied give me x squared. Well, it's a variable. It's not a number. So I would have to say it is x times x. X times x gives me x squared. X times x equals x squared, and that is correct. Then we go over here to the last term. We ignore the middle term for now. We go over here to the last term and we say, what are the two factors that when multiplied equals a 4? Well, I always start with the number 1. So 1 times 4, that does equal a positive 4. We're thinking about positive 4, so it has to be positive 1 times positive 4 equals a 4. I could consider negative 1 times a negative 4, but let's not go that far yet. We will consider those cases as well. So how about 2 times 2? Positive 2 times positive 2 also equals a positive 4. So I'm okay with that. And if you move on to, I go in order, as you noticed here on the 10. I went 1, then 2, and if I think of 3, there's really not 3 times anything that gives me a 10. I think of 4, there's really nothing times 4 that equals a 10. And then there's 5 times 2 equals a 10, but I already have that case here. So I don't get confused. I go in order. I went 1 times 4, 2 times 2. There's really nothing 3 times nothing that equals a 4. And then 4 times 1, we already have that case up here. So that's that simple. You just have to consider what are all of the factors of this last term over here. And these are all of the factors. So that was the first process. Now I'm ready to move on to the guess process here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set up the factors in a guessing way. I'm going to guess that x and x goes right here. The reason why I know that is because when I FOIL the factors, when I multiply the factors, x times x would give me my first term, x squared. So there's a reason why I place my variables first. It is because when I multiply them first, I'll get my first term. Now we need to guess which are the two factors of number 4 we want to use. Do we want to use 1 times 4 or do we want to use 2 times 2? Well, why don't we just go in order? Because if it fails, we move on to the next one, and if it fails, we move on to the next one. So here I only have two options, 1 times 4 or 2 times 2. Why don't we try 1 times 4 first? A positive 1 times a positive 4. The reason why I am considering positive 1 times positive 4 is because I know I have a positive middle term. I wouldn't consider negatives at this moment. So here's the checkpoint now. We guessed it. We guessed that that's the setup of the factors. Now we need to move on to check to see if these are the orders that we want to keep. So the checking point is you multiply the middle terms, 1 times x, and does that give me an x? Yes, it does. 1 times x equals an x. Then we check the first and the last. X times 4, that equals 4x. X times 4 equals 4x, and 1 times x equals an x. Now the nice thing here is that I can see that when I add these two terms, when I add x plus 4x, it equals 5x. Now remember, this part over here is addition. I'm adding x plus x, it gives me 5x. And that's perfect because that's exactly what I wanted to appear. It is the middle term of my polynomial. I'm happy. Yay. So that check gives me assurance. I know that these are the correct factors. If you want to check one more time, for those of you like me that wants to be 100% sure, I am going to check one more time, but this time I'm going to check my factors. X plus 1 times x plus 4. I'm going to check by foiling. You won't have to do this ever again. I'm just doing it one time to prove it to you that we have the correct factors. This checking over here, so this right here is sufficient for you to know that these are the correct factors of our polynomial. But I'm just going one more check method further to show you that we are right. Watch this. When I multiply x times x, I get an x squared. When I multiply x times 4, I get a positive 4x. When I multiply 1 times x, I get a positive x. And when I multiply 1 times 4, I get a positive 4x. If I combine like terms, which is these ones right here, there are like terms, we get x squared plus 5x plus 4. And look at this. That is our original term, our polynomial. So I know that these factors are correct. They are in the right position, in the right order. This is perfect. So our final answer, when I ask you, please factor the following polynomial. Our final answer after doing all this guessing and all this checking, our final answer is, the factors are x plus 1 times x plus 4. And that is my final answer. Okay? So again, let me repeat it. You won't have to do this FOIL check again, ever again. You don't have to do it for every single problem. All you have to do is up to this part right here to make sure that you do have the middle term. And that is your final answer. Remember, the format of our final answer when we're talking about factoring is have two separate factors. Just like we did here with the number. We have a 1 times 10. Here I have a x plus 1 times an x plus 4. Okay? So I'll create another video. This one was the easy polynomial. Let's do another one, my next video, with a little bit harder polynomial. I want you to notice one thing about this polynomial that I gave to you. The leading coefficient, we call the leading coefficient because it's the leader here of all of the terms. It's a 1. Okay, it's an invisible 1 standing right here in front of it, and that's the leading coefficient. I want to do another problem, is still using the guess and check method, where the leading coefficient is not a 1, so it's a little bit more challenging, but you will see that the guess and check method works exactly the same. Doesn't matter what your leading coefficient is. If it is a 1, if it is a 2, a 3, it really doesn't matter what the leading coefficient is. The guess and check method works. Okay, so hopefully you will start liking it and not use other methods, but I will not be mad if you use any method you want as long as you get the correct answer. So thank you guys. Try to watch my other video and practice a couple more problems because this is very important. Factoring is very, very important. Thank you.